to do that. And he can. Don't get me wrong. He can take over. We've seen him.
Dude, game one last year, the finals, unbelievable.
Crazy. The year, what was it, the year before? The year before that, the finals where he
the block heard around the world.
Well, and he was the leader on both teams in every scoring category. Between
it was every category.
Yeah, every category for an entire finals. He led both teams. I mean, it was just statistically what he did was crazy. But I still think that people don't fear LeBron. People feared Jordan. Like it was kind of like Tiger Woods. When you're going into a match of golf and you find out you're going against Tiger Woods, you're like, you're like
palms are sweating.
Palms are sweating. That's how it was.
The red and black on Sunday was death.
That's how it was with Jordan, because you knew Jordan was going to just go at you, and he was going to give it everything he had on both ends of the court. But the one thing that I saw about LeBron is, they were talking about, 34 years old or whatever. They compared him to Jordan, and it was like at 34 years old, Jordan was still, first team defensive player, and look what LeBron's over here doing. So I just think it's what Jordan prided himself in the fact that he was good at defense. He that was something that he did. That was something that he excelled at. LeBron, I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, he'll stick his hands in there and he'll get some blocks. He's good at defense, but he's not. He doesn't try. You know what I mean? He's not trying.
He's
to
not
go
an
out
elite
there.
defender. He's not better than Kawhi Leonard.
No,
yep.
No, not even
better
close.
In my opinion, not better than Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley will dig in your shorts.
Exactly. I mean, Patrick. It's a head game for him.
It's both. But
I mean, but I'm saying it's a head game, and once he gets in your head, then he gets physical with you, and then he hits you with that 2-piece, and you don't even know what happened. And next thing you know, they're calling offensive fouls. I believe was that Paul George the other day that gave him a little shoulder, and Beverly So I mean, personally, my personal opinion, Jordan is still the greatest player to me that I've seen and that I've know or whatever ever, and that's just because of the fear that he instilled in other players. Even his teammates feared him sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but you don't get that from LeBron James. People it's kind of like almost because he did it at such an early age, they just expect it. So it's like, well, I mean, there's nothing we can do, so whatever, let's just keep going. Whereas Jordan, you could just see his, like when the whistle blew, you could see the fangs come out, you could see the claws come out, and you knew he was a monster.
Yeah, and I feel like something I saw on the internet the other day that it sparked my interest a little bit. They said that Michael Jordan never had to play the greatest teams of his era to win championships. And I was like, maybe not to win the title, but to get to that title, to beat those bad boy teams, to beat those Larry Bird, Boston Celtic teams. You had to beat those teams, and you had to get out the East to get the opportunity to win a championship. Yes, he beat the Blazers, he beat the Sonics, the Utah Jazz, the Suns.
But they had two Hall of Famers. The Jazz had two Hall of Famers.
That's who was thrown up against them. Once he got out of the East and finished battling all those great squads in the East, the West was a piece of cake. Can't hold it against the guy.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. Looking for me, just looking at it, you look at how many games LeBron played compared to how many games Jordan played. Just a couple things, and these are the best playoffs that both of them had. Points per game in 2009, LeBron had 35.3. In 86, Jordan averaged 43.7 in the playoffs. Assists per game, they were basically even. They both had 9. That was the best in the playoffs. Best in the regular season. Jordan averaged 37 points per game in the regular season in 1987. LeBron's best was in 06 with 31 points. So, I mean, to me, I don't think you can compare the two guys because I don't think they're the same player at all.
Yeah, no, they're not. I would agree with you on that part of it. They're definitely not the parts. So that's our little Jordan versus LeBron, who's the GOAT debate. Patrick and I both decided and both think that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. The next subject I wanted to hit on the podcast is something that we deal with every day, and athletes are dealing with it all the time, and not just athletes, but media as well. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see the Adam Silver interview he did on The Ringer, and he talked about how there's a lot of players in the NBA that he sees and he feels are genuinely unhappy. These guys are making millions of dollars. You think that because they can buy a Lamborghini the way we buy a bottle of water, no troubles. They have the greatest job in the world. Everything's peachy and fine. Come to find out, we've talked about DeMar DeRozan coming out about mental health issues. Kevin Love coming out about mental health issues. So we definitely know there are people in the professional sports arena that are struggling. but he also talked about social media and how it's affecting teams. And you and I were talking a little bit off air about things like pregame. Instead of talking about the scouting report and going over what the team's strengths and weaknesses are, I got my headphones on, I'm listening to Drake. You got your headphones on, you're listening to Lil Wayne. And when the game starts, we wait until the last possible second to take our headphones off. And how's that do with camaraderie? I've heard things from people like Isaiah Thomas a couple times on NBA TV, other analysts that are ex-basketball players talk about bus rides, plane rides, practice. That's when you build that camaraderie. Whereas now, it's a very, at least it seems to me, looking on the outside in, a very sheltered kind of deal. I mean, it's all about, I'm at practice, let me tweet a picture of my shoes I'm wearing, practice is over, I get some coffee, I'm going to take a picture of the coffee I'm drinking, put it on my Insta, put it on my Facebook. You don't hear a lot about spade games in the locker room, or let's go to someone's house and play an Xbox tournament. It's Xbox by myself. Or, if you're lucky, maybe I'm in my mansion playing against you in your mansion. But you just don't see that camaraderie that you used to see. And I wonder how much of that has to do with social media. And I also wonder, I'm a lot more active on social than you are, obviously. I'm trying to build this Nuts and Bolts Sports brand. But just some of the vile and the venom things I see people post, whether it be some guy who lives in his mom's basement talking about a female reporter in an insert sport, whether it be a fan just dogging a rookie. I mean, that guy who played, it was the kicker for the Bears. Kill yourself. I hope you drown. You should go home and drown your wife and kids. I mean, it's just insane, some of the comments that these people put on there. Of course, everybody can be a keyboard gangster. It's easy to be a tough guy at your house when you know you're never going to meet these people in person. And if you did meet these people in person, 99% of these guys and girls don't have the balls to say the stuff to people's faces. But if you're a professional athlete and you're reading these comments, your cousin comes up to you and says, hey man, Gibson 444 said you suck, and you read that over and over again, I wonder how much of a toll that takes on your mental state.
I couldn't agree with you more, because and it's not even just athletes, it's social media in general. You got your keyboard bullies, you know.
Absolutely.
And there's no one that says what they're saying. You can't prove what they're saying is true, but you don't have to prove it. I just read it. I saw it. It happened. People don't actually fact check anything anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a quick, oh, shoot.
Gotta be first. Gotta be first.
Gotta be first. Gotta be first. Gotta be first. I mean, you saw, I'm not sure if you remember or not, what was it? Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade, they get in that spat over Jimmy Butler commenting about Wade's
Yeah, Gabrielle Union, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but it's just like, I think that we've come into this society where what people say is what we determine, what we basically make our opinion off of what people say. Nobody really has their own like view on things. They always view it however the media or whoever spins it to the way they want. It's all a narrative.
Yeah, they control the narrative.
We're all being led here. You know, where's the truth? You know, no one really knows what's true or what's not true anymore. So, I mean, at least myself, in the business that I'm in, you know, I fact check everything I do, everything I hear. You might say something to me, I might be on my phone like 10 minutes later fact checking it in the middle of the conversation, because I just don't want to be that person that repeats something and then go, you know, oh, well, you know, that's not true. Well, this is what he said. Well, is he you know, is he educated or not educated, but, you know, is he a master in that field, or is he somebody that is, you know, knows what he's talking about, or is he just Joe Blow over here in his room, you know, just finished playing, you know, Call of Duty and then got over here on the internet and just goes and starts trolling people and making up stuff. So, going back to what you were saying, though, you don't have all of, like, the team activity. I mean, you have team activities, per se. But like you said, you don't have a bunch of guys getting together and hanging out in their houses. Sometimes you do. Like, I remember...
Or maybe it's happening, we just don't know about it. I don't know. But since everybody puts everything on social media, you would think if the 76ers are having a spades tournament at Jimmy Butler's house, it'd be Instagram Live or something to show it. You would think.
Exactly. So, I just think that there's so many players out there that they rely on that social media thing that they do. They kind of get away from actual interacting with people.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, you hit that earlier. You said, you know, you come in there and you got headphones on. You're not even really listening to any. You're not friends with it. I mean, you're friends with them, but you hang out with them once a year or something like that outside of basketball. So I don't know. It's definitely something that is becoming a problem in society in general, where people just aren't interacting with each other personally, which is what they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to a bar and sit at a bar during a game, and you'll say hello to the person next to you, and you'll say who you're cheering for, and you're done talking because you're literally doing play-by-play on your cell phone the whole game. Whether you're retweeting or you're talking to a friend you wish was at that event with you, but they can't be, and that's just the way things are now. And don't get me started on fantasy football. I don't even enjoy. I still love the NFL, but I don't watch it the way I used to because of fantasy sports. So I just wonder how much social media is negatively affecting NBA players and NBA teams. And I mean, I just think about me when I was 20, 21 years old. If I was constantly seeing people write stuff about, I'm stupid, I'm bad at this, your family this, your mom that, your girlfriend that, at what point do I stop blocking it and start responding? And now I'm putting my energy in something negative. Now instead of practicing my jump shot, I spend a half an hour replying to Clip's comments about my mom or my girlfriend or whatever.
Right. Well, it's the same thing as you get these players with these fake accounts that, say stuff, and it's just a joke if you ask me. And another thing you mentioned is like you said, when you go to like sporting events. I go to sporting events because I like watching sporting events. I don't go to sporting events because I like sitting at a sporting event and getting on my phone and, like you said, tweeting about this. By the time you tweet about this and do about this, you look up and the game's over. I didn't even see it. I paid $100 for this seat, and I didn't even watch the game. Yeah. I could have done the same thing at home. So that's my thing. Like you said, you clearly social media junkie over here. I know you're on there all the time, which is good because
Well, I'm trying to build a brand. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean.
If I wasn't, probably not, because I'm like you. I wasn't raised to every single thing you do has to be broadcasted. That's not the way I was brought up at all.
Yeah. And that's honestly why even when Twitter first came out, I was like completely like, I mean, Facebook, sure. I'm kind of more Facebook where I'll post some stuff with family, stuff like that, business related stuff that I have going on. But I don't post every single day about, like you said, what did I do today? What did I do today? What did I do today?
Look at my breakfast. Look at my lunch. Look at my snack. I'm walking to my car. Join me in the walk live.
It's snowing outside.
Look at the snow. I know you live down the street from me, but my snow's different than yours. Yeah,
that's my thing. And it's always funny because you hear, if one more person tells me it's snowing outside, I'm going to walk out of my house, walk down to your house, which is 5 houses down, and smack you because I can see it.
Yeah, social media and the NBA is definitely a double-edged sword because, I mean, in my opinion, I would say that the NBA community online is more interactive than any community. Like that hashtag NBA Twitter, you can type anything, a comment about basketball. You use that hashtag NBA Twitter, 15, 20, 30 people are responding back. You're having a conversation. You're interacting with people online. It's not real life human interaction. I mean, face to face. But you're interacting with people. That's how you can go from like 5 followers to 20, 20 followers to 30. But you can also get the wrong people in there. I mean, I know people say use the block button, use the mute button. That's easier said than done sometimes. But if you're a professional athlete where you're just getting all this negative stuff, I would imagine it being tough to hit that block button on everybody. Something's going to slip through. Like they always say, don't read the comments. Post, but don't read the comments is always the word of the wise for most people. So that's just our take. A good conversation on social media and the NBA. That was a really interesting comments made by Adam Silver. Man, before we get out of here, we definitely want to talk about the home team. I don't have much to say. I mean, I said last week that for me, the season's all about playing young players, seeing if we're going to re-sign people like Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker. But our Washington Wizards update, kind of what did you have as far as Washington Wizards, Pat, and where we're at right now?
We need to stop turning the ball over. I'm going to give you my answer. That's my answer. We need to stop turning the ball over. Every game, and I don't get the chance to watch them all. I'll record them, and I'll come back and watch them if I happen to be doing something. But, every game, it just seems like we'll go on a nice run. A game against the Hornets the other day, we were down, then we were up, and then what happened? We turned the ball over 5 times, and Marvin Williams knocks down 4 3-pointers in a row, and next thing you know, we were up 4, now we're down 7. It just happens to us every single game. I mean, it took Bradley Beal hitting a 3-point shot with 1.8 seconds left on the clock to get us to overtime last night. So I think that they're doing exactly what we said earlier this year. They're getting Portis, they're getting Decker, Bryant. They're getting them their minutes.
Yeah, you got to see what we got.
We got to see what we got. We got to see what we got. We know what we have in Bradley Beal. 100% we know what we have in Bradley Beal. I think Bradley Beal's is set to be in the All-Star team, the rest of his career the way